Ho, ho, ho. Santa here. You know, the true spirit of Christmas is giving, and my friend Danny McGee knows that very well. His annual toy run with the Agape Projects helps bring joy to children who need it most. But to reach this year's $80,000 goal, we need everyone's help. So grab your cocoa, hop online, and make your donation at theagapeprojects.org. Together, let's fill hearts and stockings with love.
Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch transfer.
It's probably the least sexy part of the organizing. No. The truth is,
So 10 years ago, I didn't know what a monarch was. I didn't know what milkweed was. I didn't know what a chrysalis was, and I was never into butterflies. I'm still not into butterflies.
Get out.
But so I was sitting one day looking at my Facebook, and I saw something on a friend's Facebook page, and I said, "What is that?" And she said, "A chrysalis." And I said, "What's a chrysalis?" And then she said, "It's going to be a monarch." And I said, "What's a monarch?" And I mean, this is absolutely 1,000% true story. And then she said, "Well, the butterflies, they're in trouble." I said, "What do you mean they're in trouble?" Well, there you go. So that was it, because my nature is a rescuer. So we rescue dogs, we rescue cats. So if we find anything in need, I can't just sit back and do nothing. So that was my calling. Okay, the monarchs are in trouble. What can I do to help?
Well, weren't they like almost extinct?
So before we yes. So no, they're not almost extinct. The issue is they're in New Zealand, they're in Australia, they're in Hawaii, they're in the Canary Islands.
Wow.
So as a butterfly, they're not at risk of extinction.
Okay.
But in the United States, we have the North American migration, which goes from Mexico up the East Coast, the Midwest, and the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how if the other two migratory paths are in trouble. But the focus was on the Northeast migratory path, which runs from Mexico up the East Coast to Canada and back, is at risk of extinction. And when I heard that, I was like, I can't just not do anything.
No.
It's instinctive in me that I have to do something, not just sit back and watch and say, "Oh, that's so sad."
And it's not like you're raising tigers or anything.
No.
I mean, it's something as small as this.
And I knew nothing, absolutely nothing. So I started Googling, and the issue was you need to plant milkweed. I said, "What's milkweed?" So I just did a search on Google, and I found an online plant source. And she's retiring, but Rose Franklin from monarchsandmilkweed.com. And I purchased 6 swamp milkweed plants, which is Asclepias incarnata. So the plants came. That's the botanical name, is Asclepias incarnata.
I knew that. I was just testing you.
It's swamp milkweed. So the 6 plants came, and they sat out in a little box on the front sidewalk, and I was busy with everything else. And next thing, I walk out there and go, "Oh my gosh, there's a caterpillar." So that was really cool.
How big were these plants when you got them?
They were probably about 10 inches.
Wow.
Because they came through the mail. So here's this little 10-inch plant, and there's a big caterpillar
You didn't
on
plant
it.
them or anything.
No. So I would think, because of the size of that caterpillar, it probably came shipped with that caterpillar on the plant. So plants just sat out there on the sidewalk, and then now the caterpillar's gone. I thought, great, a bird ate it or something. And then we looked, and we saw it in our bush, and it was hanging upside down in the shape of a J. I'm like, what is it doing? I knew nothing, absolutely nothing about this. And then I'm at work and my daughter is calling me saying, Mom, you've got a butterfly. I said, you got to be kidding me. So she sent me a picture.
Wow.
And I thought, this is really cool. I never saw it because it flew away.
Right.
But literally I ordered 6 plants because it said you need to buy milkweed. So I bought milkweed, sat it out on the sidewalk, never even planted it, found a caterpillar, it turned into a butterfly, and it flew away. So that was around this time, August, September, 10 years ago. So then because of that, and it was just so intriguing that I saw it, I just started reading about it and doing Google searches and such. And I went to YouTube and I found different videos from a guy named Rich Lund, who's absolutely brilliant. Science teacher. I think he's in Michigan, Wisconsin. He's up in a northern state. And he had a 5-part video series on how to help the monarchs. So you go out and you look for eggs and, then you can protect them and on and on. And still, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So the next spring, I ordered more plants and I ordered common milkweed from monarchwatch.org.
Okay.
Ordered about 6 flats of it. And I asked people, hey, you want milkweed? You want milkweed? Yeah, sure. So we just distributed milkweed. And I was telling people the monarchs need milkweed because that's what they lay their eggs on. At the time, I didn't know what the significance of the milkweed was. So we just distributed a bunch of milkweed. Then we had a friend in Delaware, Penny. It's like a sister to me. And whatever I ordered, I replicated my order and I sent it to her in Delaware. So here we're in 2 different states, but she and I are growing this milkweed and seeing what happens. So we literally learned together. And maybe we found 1 or 2 eggs. And the research that I found was you got to plant native.
Right.
You got to plant your natives. And there's
Which
just
is
this
what, the swamp milkweed, right?
Swamp and common.
Yes,
Okay.
and tuberosa is your butterfly weed. Those are the 3 around here that. Yeah, so we did everything that the science told us to do because we were absolutely clueless. And what we did was Google searches and YouTube videos, and all you see is native. You got to plant your native. And I jokingly say native sarcastically now because for 4 years I had no butterflies.
Yeah.
So I reached back to Rose Franklin at monarchsandmilkweed.com, and I told her, I said, Rose, I've had this milkweed for 3-4 years now, and I still don't have any butterflies. So she suggested we try tropical milkweed, and yes, the other name is hairy balls milkweed.
Get out of here.
Hairy balls milkweed.
Oh, go ahead, Kayla. I know you're going to have fun with that one.
I was reading the paper and I was just waiting.
Hairy balls.
Okay.
So I mean, we can call it Gomphocarpus phossocarpa, or we can call it Gary. So it's the botanical name is Gomphocarpus phossocarpa.
All right, so the hairy balls milkweed.
The hairy balls milkweed. Now, some people refer to it as balloon milkweed. And other people call it family jewels. and some people
You should have brought a hairy balls.
We should have. We actually should have brought hairy balls with us.
This
Brought everything but the hairy balls.
You know what this is reminding me of now? The old Saturday Night Live skit where they were doing NPR radio. Did you ever see that?
Mm-mm.
The 2 women are. So they'd had a guy on. He said, "Yeah, I made these salty balls," and they're going back and forth. And now you guys, it's like, yeah.
I can never say anything.
It's funny. A couple years ago, we host and we invite people to come look at the gardens, and the gentleman from what is it called, the Bel Air Facebook News.
Oh, W Bel Air News. Yeah,
Geo. So Geo came to the house. He was so funny. So what I didn't realize is he leaned down and he whispered into the microphone, and he had told me to say hairy balls as much as I could. So he reached down and he spoke into the mic. He said, "Now look, she's going to say it. And every time she says it, I want you to take a shot." So he's telling people to take a shot. So he came down into the garden, and he's asking me to describe the hairy balls. And every time I said hairy balls, he was asking his viewers to take a shot. So
you need to get shirts that just say, I have hairy balls
with the
a picture of the milkweed on it.
What's funny, I was at work one day and I distribute a lot of milkweed to people that I worked with. I'm a retired nurse. And I walked over and I won't use the guy's name. I said, hey, Dr. Joe, how are your hairy balls doing? And, and people looked at me, what? He said, they're doing really well. And somebody said, well, mine's doing really well too, because I had given so many people milkweed.
Right.
And we're all talking about our hairy balls in the hallway. And the doctor just went right along with it. It was actually really hysterical. But no, the name of the plant is hairy balls milkweed. So we planted hairy balls milkweed and we planted tropical milkweed. And our gardens absolutely exploded. And when I say exploded, I'm talking we've got monarchs everywhere. Yeah, so we've got hairy balls.
You okay,
That's
Rick?
just, the hairy balls exploded.
That's right, hairy balls exploded.
But tell them why it exploded.
Well, apparently, never mind.
So go to page 3 on your handout.
Oh, Jesus.
Rich, go to page 3. So a real little story. So my daughter called me at work, said, hey, Mom, do you still have milkweed? Yeah, why? What's up? Well, my dear friend Angie, God bless her, lost her little girl.
Oh.
And Angie wanted to start a butterfly garden at the elementary school in honor of Emmy.
Oh, wow.
But I said, you can't start a butterfly garden in August. You got to start it Mother's Day, at the beginning of the season, because the plants need to be substantial. So she had said that she wanted to start a butterfly garden, but you can't start a butterfly garden in August. So I said, send her down. I'd never met Angie before. This is an absolute 1,000% story. This is what got us to where we are today. So Angie came with a friend, this, very heartbroken mom.
Mm-hmm.
And we stood on the driveway and I had planted swamp milkweed, common milkweed, butterfly weed, showy milkweed. So I had 4 different types of native milkweed in our garden. Native, 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 native. They just keep saying you got to plant your natives. And I did. And I had no butterflies. So then we added tropical milkweed and hairy balls milkweed. And we started noticing monarchs. And I'm standing next to a mom who's lost her daughter.
Right.
And I said, Angie, hold on, stand real still, because something just flew by my head and it was orange. And oh my gosh, it was a female, and she landed on a hairy balls right in front of me and started laying eggs right in front of me.
Wow.
And my jaw dropped. And I said, you have got to be kidding. And we stood on that driveway and we watched that butterfly go from hairy balls to hairy balls to hairy balls to hairy balls like a ping pong. She skipped the common.
All the other ones.
She skipped the tropical. She skipped the swamp. She skipped the swamp is incarnata. She skipped the tuberosa and she skipped the showy.
Mm-hmm.
And she went all over that garden laying eggs on the hairy balls.
Wow.
And I'm standing in the driveway. Now this is the 5th year into this, literally stunned, frozen in my steps. I don't understand what I'm watching.
Yeah.
And about 3 months later, I saw this study that you have in front of you. So this study was published by these 2 professors. The one gentleman is Dutch, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. If you look at the bottom of the study, it says above the list, it says study was done by Professors Jacques Derode and Mark Hunter.
Okay.
So what they did is they measured the levels of cardinalide in different varieties of milkweed. So if you look at that top paragraph, it says milkweed toxins are cardiac glycosides, and the levels are higher in different types of milkweed. Monarch female butterflies, if given a choice, like to choose milkweed with higher levels of these glycosides, which is in the sap, to protect their babies. So now the left column, you see the ends for native, 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 and then non-native, native. So the first line, if you look, it says butterfly weed, which is Asclepias tuberosa. That's what you're going to find at Home Depot and Lowe's. So you go across and look at the cardinalide level, 0.004.
That's low, right?
It's low.
Real
So
low.
then you have narrow, world, and purple. And now you see the first N, which is swamp, which is Asclepias incarnata, 0.05.
A little bit better, but still low.
And it's a finicky plant. The leaves turn red. I had many, and we ripped them all out because it just didn't perform well in our garden.
Okay.
So then the next one we had also added was showy milkweed, which is Asclepias speciosa, 0.192. So as you see, as you're going down, the numbers are getting higher and higher. Common milkweed is what you're going to find in farmers' fields on the side of the road, in ditches. So that's Asclepias syriaca. And that spreads by rhizomes. I didn't know that the first time I ordered it. So it's like a snake slithering across your lawn. So it slithers across the lawn, and then its head pops up, and then slithers, and then the head pops up.
Does that mean it's invasive?
It is. Well, whether it's invasive or aggressive spreaders are different criteria.
Okay.
So I might say it's invasive, and somebody might say, no, it's not invasive. It's an aggressive spreader. I don't know the specifics as to what defines one from the other. For me, if I planted it here and it shows up there, it's invasive. But scientifically, there are specific characteristics of the plant, whether it's aggressive or whether it's invasive. So I just don't want to use the incorrect terminology. But the common milkweed syriaca, 0.370. Now you go down to your tropical milkweed, which is Asclepias curasivica, 0.86.
So it's getting better.
So it's getting better. Now go to the bottom line, and what do you see?
The hairy balls. Holy cow.
What's it say?
3.005. Man.
Yeah.
So that moment when I saw this study published, and to this day, I literally remember jumping up from my seat and yelling, I knew it. I knew something was going on in that garden, but I had no idea what. But why, if I have 6 types of milkweed in my garden, is that female going from hairy balls to hairy balls? I saw it with my own eyes, but I didn't know why, and I didn't know what I was seeing. And when I saw this study and that moment with my friend Angie, who lost her daughter, was absolutely life-changing. And I literally felt like Paul Revere, the British are coming, the British are coming, that I felt compelled to, oh my gosh, I have to tell people about this.
Yeah.
And I literally felt like I'm onto something. No, I'm just a person in my driveway. These scientists did this study. I think they know. But here I am in my naivety just saying, I got to tell everybody. The monarchs are in trouble. Their numbers are down. They need milkweed. And I see they're laying eggs all over my garden. I need to tell people. So I harvested the seeds off of one of them. And I don't, people look at my gardens, and when I say I don't know how to garden, they think I'm crazy. When I say that, to me, a good gardener, I know the soil content. I know the pH of my soil. I know what fertilizers to use. I don't know any of that. I plant it and
let it go.
That's what I do. I plant it and I let it go. So I don't know the science. And I guess it's horticulture, that industry. I don't know the science. All I know is that I put the plant in the dirt, soil, I water it, and it grows.
Now, do you plant them in the ground or in pots?
Both.
Okay.
So I do both, and I'll explain it.
Okay.
I'll explain to you why I do that. But so I had this tray, and I took all these seeds, and I just threw the seeds, and they all germinated. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have 1,000 hatchlings. So then I'm like, oh, the poor little hatchlings, I can't throw them away. So I went and I got lights, and then I got trays, and I got potting soil, and I got racks, because I know this is ridiculous, but remember, I'm a rescuer.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this little seedling and it's just trying to grow. So I feel sorry for it. I don't want to throw it in the trash, right?
I would have done the same thing.
But to the extent, I mean, when she took us down into her basement, and she goes, "You're not ready for what you're going to see." And we were just going over there because I found Donna on Facebook, so I wanted to try the hairy balls, and so she sold us some hairy balls, and then she said, "Come inside," and we went down in her basement. We're going. We left going, oh my God. I mean, she took it to the 10th degree because racks, lights.
She's hoarding hairy balls.
and watering and just the whole system to take care of like 25, how many plants?
3,000.
3,000 plants in her basement.
3,000.
And they had to stay in her basement because of the weather outside wasn't.
Yes, it was February.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I got to transplant all these in the bigger pots. I'm like, good luck with that.
So 29 grow lights. 29 grow lights in the racks. And then we had an electrician come in. He had to put outlets for all the lights. And then,
it just kept snowballing.
It got out of control.
Worse and worse
You
and
need
worse.
a farm.
So then we get our electric bill. Our electric bill went up $400 a month for having 29 grow lights running in our basement. And we did that for at least 2 years. But what happened is...
Yeah. Look at that face.
Oh, yeah. But what happened is we had repotted. So when you came, I had already repotted the seedlings into the 4-inch pots. And then we had bought a popular brand. I won't use the name of it, but we used a popular brand of potting soil, and it started failing. The plants just started looking bad. And I don't know anything about growing stuff. I just knew that these things, I threw them on the soil and I watered them. I put them on a heat mat, got one of those humidity domes and put it under light, and they all exploded. They all just 3,000 plants. I'm like, what am I going to do with all these things?
Say it. You know you want to.
I mean, I could have just tossed them, but I had seen what I had observed in the garden. It was just so powerful. I just felt like I was on a mission. So I planted all of these into these 4-inch pots, and then they stopped growing. So I pulled them out and I go, oh my God, the soil was like a rock. So what I've learned over time is the little white things that are in the soil called perlite.
Okay.
And then you have vermiculite. So again, I'm no expert, but this is just what I've learned. So if you had a cup and you poured marbles in it, and then you poured sand in the cup, the sand would go down and fill all the gaps around the marbles. So the marbles help to prevent the soil from becoming too compacted. There was hardly any perlite in this soil.
Oh.
So when I was watering it, the water was going around the top and down the sides,
not getting to
and
the
it
roots.
wasn't getting to the roots, and the plants were not growing.
Interesting.
So I said, I've got to replant 3,000 plants. And that's when I met Mark and Donna. And so,
Craig, you decided to go on vacation then, right?
they were so sweet. They were so sweet. But again, I'm just some woman who's a nurse who's got plants in her basement, and I wanted to help the butterflies, and Donna and Mark came along and they said, well, we'll help you. And then there was construction over in Havre de Grace.
Yeah, we went out to lunch, and I was talking to some of the women in the table next to us about the monarchs, and they were from England, and they thought I was talking about the monarchs in England. And I said, no, there's a woman in Churchville. And then the waitress heard me talking, and she said, you're talking about Donna Thompson, right? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, well, over there, they're doing a bay restoration, and they have all these pots over there that they're going to throw out. And she said, anyone can take them if you want them.
Really?
We're like, what? So we ate lunch quick, went over to the site, and we filled our Subaru with, I don't know, about 1,000 the pots. And then we called Don and we said, do you need pots?
Yeah. This is a 1,000% true story. And we had just met. We didn't even know each other.
Yeah.
But they felt, I guess, the passion, whatever it was that got you guys going.
Right.
But yeah, and then she's down on the ground scrubbing these pots, because now it's spring, because we started these in January and they got to a certain point. And I said, if we don't repot them, I'm going to lose 3,000 plants. So it was either we throw them or we repot them. So yeah, they came over and one of you came with a big tote, put it on the table, and we filled it with soil so we didn't have to bend over, and 3,000 plants. Now the problem was the footprint's bigger. So now instead of getting, I don't know, say hypothetically, 100 plants on a rack, now I can only get 60 because the pots are bigger.
Don't tell me you got an addition put onto that.
I had, no.
Oh.
So what we started doing is we then built racks, 4x8 racks with chicken wire over them and casters. And then I got PVC pipe and I made a big frame for the lights to hang so we could roll.
See how it's snowballing?
Uh-huh.
So it's rolling around the basement. And then we had the plumber. We don't have ejection pump. We don't have anything in our basement. So we had the plumber come in and he installed a sink for me and put my drain into the sump pump. So if I had too much water, it would drain into the sump pump and pump it out. And then we put a garden hose in the basement. It really got
What the hell are they teaching you in nursing school now?
Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome.
Well, we were, but Mark and Donna, and there's another girl, Chris, and her husband came down to help, and another friend, Tasha, and her daughter Eva came. So it was really neat that the people in the community that were joining our group saw what we were doing, and they volunteered to come help.
So you already had the Facebook group when this all started.
So, yeah, that's how she met me. So, no, I didn't have a Facebook group at all. So what had happened was I had joined, because I was clueless.
Right.
So I joined other Facebook groups.
Okay.
And I encountered so many people that are rude.
Right.
And, they're just condescending or what have you.
Welcome to social media.
Yeah. And I had started noticing some things, some techniques that I wanted to share. And one of them was the use of the proper habitat.
Right.
And it was a lesson I learned the hard way. But butterflies have tarsal claws on their feet, and they need to be able to grip and climb.
That's what was tickling my nose outside.
Right.
Yeah.
So we used a glass aquarium because I was clueless. And one fell, and it sat there on the bottom looking at me, and its wings were all dried, crumpled up like a backpack.
Aww.
And I had to euthanize this butterfly. And then I learned, oh my gosh, if the sides were mesh, it would have been able to climb back up. Gravity would have pulled its wings down. Belly would have pumped all that fluid into the wings, and it would have been fine. So I tried sharing this information in other Facebook groups, and I've been using a critter keeper for 10 years, and I've never had a problem. And I use a mason jar. I use an upside down wine glass. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is ridiculous, that where are the administrators in this group that are not sharing proper technique and safe practice if you want to help these butterflies? And all I got was disrespect and pushback. So I left every butterfly group out there, and I just did my own thing, and I just was not involved at all.
And is that how you found out about, I don't even know what they're called, the mesh?
They're just mesh habitats, but that was a lesson I learned the hard way, because I used a glass aquarium.
Right.
So I try to share, do it, what do you say? You want to learn it the hard way, or would you rather just listen to somebody else?
Somebody that's had success with it.
Exactly. So, but I had 2,000 plants now, and I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't have anybody to buy them. So I just started giving people milkweed. So I literally, this was the year before when I donated 2,000 plants. So I went to work, and I just go in every day, and I just take all these plants, and here, take them. And they're just looking at me, just plant milkweed. It's for the butterflies. So then my daughter said, I've got to be able to communicate with people.
Yeah.
And I can't be on the phone all day talking to everybody. I need to be able to do it where I can just share information to a group. So she said, make a Facebook group. Well, what do I call it? Well, she said, your name is Donna, and they know Donna gave them the milkweed, and it's for Monarch, so call it Donna's Monarchs, and your garden is like a sanctuary. So she named it Donna's Monarch Butterfly Sanctuary. And it was just for the people in Harford County that I gave milkweed to, so I could explain this is what you do with it.
And now it exploded.
And then
like them hairy balls.
That's right. So then the next year is when we started the Facebook group, and I went online and I said, I've got milkweed if anybody wants it, and tell them about how you found out about our group, your daughter.
Yeah, my daughter saw it on Facebook because they're always on social media.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, check this out. And then I tried several times to get in touch with Donna, but I was unsuccessful. And then one time she did answer, and it's like, yeah, we have hairy balls. Come on over. And I'm like, well, where are you? I said, I'm in Jarrettsville. And she goes, I'm in Churchville. I said, I'll be right there.
And they were.
See, and when I first saw the Facebook group, I didn't realize you were local. I had no idea because of how, till I started digging into it. It's like, oh,
So
she's here.
We're international now.
I know.
So we've got.
You got what, over 50?
Well, no. We just hit 13,000 the other night. Oh, but there's
more than that.
No, we're at 13,000. But there's also, it says you have members and then you have visitors.
Right. Okay.
So it says 13,000 members, but there's 4,000 visitors. But we have people from New Zealand and Australia, and interesting, our season's ending and theirs is going to start. So our winter's their summer, their summer's our winter. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
So at the other, I'm not good at my geography, but wherever Australia is, when we're starting summer, they're starting winter. So we're ending and they're gearing up for their monarchs.
All right. Scary question for you, because I'm just thinking about all this milkweed that you're growing. So in the wintertime, what do? Move them all back into the house?
No, they're annuals. They're annuals. They get tossed and we start fresh every spring. So that's what's bringing me to, so there's controversy over this. So remember, I followed what the science said for 4 years, 100% native garden, because I didn't know any better and I'm trying to follow the instructions, and we had no success with monarchs. So then we added tropical milkweed and hairy balls milkweed. Tropical milkweed is native to Mexico. Okay. Hairy balls is native to Africa.
Right.
But hairy balls is all over New Zealand and Australia, and it's in Hawaii, and there's no issues with it there. The people in Australia and New Zealand call it swan plant. So just FYI, and I'm just going to use these two. Gomphocarpus phossocarpa is hairy balls.
Okay.
Gomphocarpus fruticosus is swan plant. So they're like brother and sister. The plant looks very similar, but the seed pods are distinctly different. And I actually have that explanation on the front of this. So if somebody calls hairy ball swan plant, it's not. That's incorrect terminology. So I just noticed that we had this success, and yet I have no success with the natives. And now remember, a native plant is a perennial, so it's going to come back every year. So whatever's above the surface, you can run your lawnmower over it. The roots are in the ground, and next year it's going to sprout, and you're going to have your plant come back. But hairy balls and tropical milkweed are annuals.
So those you can just put in the pots and plant outside.
That's exactly right. Now they are non-natives, which gets us to many master gardeners are all about native. You got to plant your natives. And I respect that. And I understand what they're saying, but I did it and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I reached out to a professor, and I will not use his name, but there's a professor who is all about native. You got to plant the native, and you shouldn't be helping the monarchs, and you shouldn't be doing anything that we're doing as far as helping them and bringing. You should be hands off. So they believe that they theorize that what we are doing is harming the butterflies instead of helping the butterflies. So there's
raising butterflies is harming the butterflies.
Exactly. So in the wild, there is a 3 to 10% chance to survive. So each female can lay 300 to 500 eggs. So if let's use 100 for, to make it simple. So if she laid 100 eggs, you're going to have 3 to 10 make it to a butterfly. So 90% die. You have 10% survival rate. So you also have spiders and ants that eat the eggs. Mm-hmm. Once they become a caterpillar, you have stink bugs, and it's gross, but they have this long thing that sticks out, and they literally like they're drawing the contents of the caterpillar.
The stink bugs do?
Mm-hmm. Stink bugs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. We've seen it like yesterday.
You did yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like you're drawing the contents of that caterpillar like you're drinking a milkshake, and it just completely deflates. It's absolutely disgusting. Wow. So we have wasps. Was that a hornet that got that one?
A hornet.
Bald-faced hornet.
Right.
Yes.
So we have hornets, stink bugs, praying mantis. There's just many. There's just many different predators that are out there. Lizards, if you're in an area that has a lot of lizards get them. So then,
I didn't think about that, especially because
Florida.
around here we have the skinks. The little lizards.
Yeah, I've never seen them, and I've never seen them in my garden. So then we have the spiders and ants eating the eggs. Then we have all these different predators that are killing the caterpillars. And then we have the parasitic insects.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the tachnid fly, and then there's other ones. Some of these terms are hard for me to pronounce. So I'm just going to say there's a variety of wasps that will fly around, and they lay their eggs on the back of the caterpillar. It's like somebody coming up and stabbing you in the back. So that egg hatches and bores into the caterpillar. And then now that maggot is going to eat the insides of that caterpillar, you're going to end up with a dead chrysalis or a dead caterpillar, white strings, maggots come out. And it's just, so each female can lay 100 eggs. So just to back up, we've got spiders and ants eat the eggs. Then you have predators eating the caterpillars. Then you have the parasitic insects that lay eggs on the caterpillars, and then they hatch, and then they use the caterpillar as the host for those insects. So there's also an organism. So you've got bacterial infections. Then a lot of times the bacteria is Pseudomonas. Then you have NPV. It's a very long term. It's short. The NPV is short for a virus. NP something virus, nuclear something virus. So there are things out there in nature that can affect the monarchs as well. But the big issue is in Florida. There's an organism called OE, and it's very long. If you look at this handout on page 4, right in the middle. Literally right in the middle, you're going to see OE. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because I'm just going to butcher it. But a very quick overview. OE is a parasite, and it is on the body of the butterflies. And as the butterfly flies around, imagine if you were scattering fairy dust or glitter. Or if you had a powdered sugar shaker, or if somebody had dandruff on their shoulder. As she's flying around, the spores that are on her body are going through the air, and they'll land on the milkweed. Okay? So OE is spread by butterflies.
Huh.
So in Florida, their butterflies, a great number of the butterflies in Florida do not migrate. So they're there year round. So if you were to take non-native milkweed to Florida that survives the winter in mild temperatures, if the butterfly visited that plant and she scattered OE spores on the plant, every time a female comes around and lays eggs, when the caterpillar eats the foliage, it's going to ingest the spores and become infected.
Huh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Did I say that's okay? So the problem is, in Florida, the plants don't die because the winter is mild.
Right. So
if the plant survives, so do the spores. So some in the scientific community believe that the spread of OE is blamed on tropical milkweed. So if you go to Journey North, if you go to Xerces Society, and what's the other one? Journey North, Xerces Society, there's another one.
I'm not sure.
So if you look up tropical milkweed on the internet or just do a Google search, you're going to see a picture of it with a circle and a line through it. Rip it out. You shouldn't use it. So there are a select group of people that blame the spread of OE in Florida on tropical milkweed. So because of that, there's a lot of people that will argue you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You're hurting the butterflies. You're going to cause the butterfly to have deformed wings. So Donna and Mark are biologists and have high-powered microscopes. And I have a microscope, and Denise has a microscope. And we test our butterflies by you take a piece of tape, you touch it to the belly, you put the tape on a piece of white paper or an index card, and you examine it under the microscope, and you look for OE spores. In 2023, 2024, and so far 2025, all three of us have never found a single case of OE.
Interesting.
It's not here.
Yeah.
And if it's here, it might be.
It's very rare.
It's very rare. So for people in the community, in the scientific community, to make this blanket statement that no one should plant tropical milkweed because of disease, I respectfully disagree with it. I've read the research, I've read the articles, yet what Donna and me and Denise do and so many others in the group, none of us have ever had a single case of OE. And if somebody ends up with a deformed butterfly, we ask them to touch a piece of tape to the abdomen, put it in a card, give it to us, and we'll test it. We'll test it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have people mailing samples from other parts of the country. And I've still never had a case of OE. So I don't understand this push, because what we see in the scientific research does not match what we see here.
Right.
And you go from 100% native garden with no butterflies to adding 2 non-native milkweeds and having butterflies. As a matter of fact, 3 years ago, I had a gentleman visit our garden. His name is Kurt Jacobson. He's from Mother Earth News magazine. He told me that he's from Colorado, and he said, I have been in butterfly gardens all over the country. And he came to the garden, and I just stood there and I let him just observe. I walked away so he would have a couple minutes uninterrupted. And he turned and looked at me and said, I have been in butterfly gardens all over the country. I have never seen anything like this.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Wow.
Because we don't have a screen over us. He said, you've got monarchs everywhere. I said, I know. And that's what I'm trying to convey, is that if we're having a problem with the monarchs, why is it that people won't be open-minded and listen to this? So then we ask the question, what is the problem with the monarchs? Why is there a problem with the monarchs? So we honestly haven't even gotten there. So in the springtime, do you ever ask yourself, where'd that butterfly come from? You'll see a butterfly, you see the tiger swallows, and we just in nature, it's a butterfly, but we don't really think about it.
Yeah.
So those butterflies have been out in your garden all winter. So they develop their chrysalis.
Not the monarchs,
right?
The
swallowtails.
Right.
All the other butterflies. Right? So all the butterflies that you see in the springtime flying around in your garden have been there all winter.
Swallowtails are the yellow ones, right?
Yeah, and there's many types of swallowtails too.
Zebra, eastern.
Exactly. So there's different types of butterflies, but in the fall when they form their chrysalis, they go, you know what? It's getting a little chilly. I think I'll see you next spring. So they basically go to sleep for the winter, and then in the springtime when the temperatures rise, then they end up coming out of the chrysalis, and now we have butterflies. So they mate, lay eggs, turn into a caterpillar, now a chrysalis, butterfly comes out, they fly around, they mate, lay eggs, and the process keeps continuing. But in the fall, when the temperatures drop, they say, see you next spring. The monarchs are the only ones that don't do that. Monarchs migrate to Mexico.
Right.
And when I learned about this and the monarchs are in trouble, what do you mean they're in trouble? Well, they go to Mexico, they spend the whole winter roosting together in the trees to stay warm, and in March they head north, they mate, and what are they looking for? They're looking for milkweed to lay their eggs. They can't find milkweed. So we have land development. We have parking lots. We have Walmarts and Kmarts and housing developments. So their habitat's being destroyed. In addition to that, farms, when they're growing their crops and you have your GMOs, your genetically modified organisms, the farmers will spray the whole field.
And now they're using drones to spray their fields.
Yeah, and they have a field right in front of them. Tell them what you saw.
Like an 8-foot drone in front of our house. I walked out the front door and there's this drone just hovering. And I'm like, oh no, because our garden's over there and they're spraying the corn. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did it hit our garden?
Mm-hmm.
But Mark seems to think,
Well, it had such a wingspan when it released the sap to the pesticide. It forced it straight down.
Okay.
So I didn't see any overspray at all.
yeah, most our caterpillars were fine, but we were concerned. But then there's also milkweed in some of the terrace of the fields that they don't plant corn in.
Right.
That's where a lot of the milkweed grows. And if they're spraying the whole field, they're hitting that area with a pesticide.
Well, plus
too.
when with the rainwater and even when they're watering the fields, it's got to go somewhere.
That's right.
Goes to our wells.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all on wells.
So the farmers are spraying their fields and they are using Roundup, which kills the weeds, milkweed. All right. So we're losing the milkweed with pesticides would be for the pests. Herbicides, right? So
For the plants.
Roundup, right. So Roundups are for the plants. So you've got land development, loss of habitat, plus people that are spraying these fields, they're killing off all the milkweed. So now here's the other issue. I say, hey, Rich, would you like to plant some milkweed in your garden? Sure, I'd love to help the butterflies. Oh, by the way, the common spreads by rhizomes and it'll take over your garden. It'll go under your sidewalk and it'll end up in your lawn. Most people go, I don't want that stuff in my garden. No thanks. So when you have tuberosa, which is low in cardinalide, and swamp milkweed, which is very finicky, and the leaves turn red, and then they don't do anything with it, and common milkweed spreads by rhizomes and nobody wants to plant it, how are we going to restore this habitat? So our mission is, and our primary focus is conservation and restoring the habitat. We need to plant milkweed. And the issue is nobody wants to plant common milkweed in their gardens. Maybe if you've got a cornfield or something behind your house. But most people, you live in a townhouse, you don't want common milkweed spreading all over your lawn and going under your fence and into your neighbor's lawn. People don't want that. For the most part, people want things, if I plant it here, I want it to stay here. They don't want a plant that's got a mind of its own. So tropical milkweed and hairy balls milkweed are both annuals. They die in the fall. We rip them out. We put new ones in the spring. It's like planting a begonia. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful plants, and the monarchs love them.
People that know me know that I love going to Richardson Farms. Not just the store, but even when we do weddings at the barn. The place is amazing. So with the store, whether you're grabbing fresh produce, stocking up on groceries, or indulging in their hot food and deli, this family-owned gym has been a staple of Maryland for generations. And let me tell you, the food, incredible. I cannot get enough of their smoked barbecue beef brisket. It's tender, flavorful, and just melts in your mouth. Pair that with some of their homemade sides, and you've got a meal that'll leave you coming back for more. And it's not just about the barbecue. Richardson Farms has fresh, never frozen poultry, daily deli specials, and produce straight from their fields. So whether you're meal planning for the week, you need catering, or looking for something amazing for dinner tonight, stop by Richardson Farms. They're open 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily, and trust me, your taste buds will thank you. To find out more, just go to richardsonfarms.net. Again, that's richardsonfarms.net.
So
I know and when's the best time to plant them?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Yeah, and if you're not local, for Maryland, we always want to plant after the last threat of frost. So for us in zones...
Which is hard to tell in Maryland.
Well, I know. And a couple years ago, we planted Mother's Day, and a week later, we had frost.
Yeah. Right.
And you remember that. That was terrible. We were putting frost blankets outside. But depending on where somebody is, what region is, they've got to know when is my last threat of frost.
So over the summertime, how big will the tropical and the hairy balls get?
So tropical milkweed will be about the size of a rose bush. If you're standing for an adult, it'll be maybe up to your hips. For hairy balls milkweed, if it's in really good soil and it's real happy, it can be 6 feet tall.
How long does it take for the plant to reach maturity?
A couple months. Yeah, they grow pretty quickly. Yeah. So, they're
So if
phenomenal.
I put them in pots, I better get some big ass pots, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, well, depending on, so when we try to feed our butterflies, we put milkweed in the ground, but then we also use 2-gallon pots for the tropical, because
Okay.
if we harvest eggs and we bring eggs in, I can just put the whole potted plant, just like you see right there.
Right.
There's a whole potted plant in that habitat, and caterpillars are sitting there eating it, and it just makes life easy. Or you can go at what we're doing now, which is, it's been a crazy 2 weeks, that we wouldn't be accomplishing what we're doing if it wasn't for Mark and Donna.
You know, I don't feel so bad now, because I told you that how I got the swamp milkweed, and I left it in a pot, and it's dying. I use that plant app. It's like, yeah, it's infected, or it's dying. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
I know what to get next time.
Well,
before Mother's Day.
Yeah, it's a.
I kill plants. I can't say anything.
This is swamp, but remember, they have their clock, and they know when the season is coming to an end. The temperature's starting to
the
drop.
whole garden's showing stress because it's that time of year.
Yeah.
And another thing, when you plant tropical in the spring, if you clip them down or prune them down, they'll split. So you're getting double the plant, double the leaves of what the monarchs eat.
Yeah.
Mark and Donna were the resident scientists. Saying that really unbelievable help. Especially some Marks.
We drive around. It's like, milkweed. There's milkweed over there. Then we go on the internet. Okay, who owns that property? We've got to call them.
Yeah, they're knocking on people's doors. Lady was out in her lawnmower. They pulled in her driveway. Can we cut some of your milkweed?
And she's like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Kayla.
Yeah.
As much as you love monarchs and you don't have anything growing for them to eat,
I kill plants. I can't even grow grass in my yard. Seriously. I kill everything that enters my house.
So getting back to the whole concept of what we can do to help monarchs, again, just to reiterate, our focus is on conservation.
Mm-hmm.
Please, sir, please don't spray. Please don't cut down the milkweed. If you're going to cut your field, can you just cut around those stalks? Because there's caterpillars out there laying eggs, but now they've got a 3 to 10% survival rate. So the odds are against them. And then there's an organization called monarchwatch.org. And what they do is, I don't know how they measure, but the land in Mexico is measured in hectares.
Hectares, yeah.
And I would assume it's some kind of aerial photography. And they have the pictures of the monarchs roosting in the trees. So this is the monarchs roosting in the trees in Mexico.
They're all.
Right.
I saw the.
Did you see it?
I saw the video that Anderson Cooper did on 60
Oh,
Minutes
yeah.
about the monarchs.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's sad. It was such a short video. There was so much more that he could have added to that. In the spring, the roost breaks up, and then they head north. They stop at flowers, and they're going to get nectar.
Right.
Right. So think about, we go to the gas station for fuel for our vehicle. Nectar and flowers is their fuel. So then they're going to stop, and their proboscis is going to go in and draw the nectar out of the flowers. I can tell that's a male by those dots right there. That's tuberosa. This is an orange butterfly weed. This is what you find at Home Depot and Lowe's. The problem is also when you buy milkweed at big box stores, sometimes they've been sprayed.
Yeah.
So you bring it home and you feed caterpillars, and all the caterpillars die. Swamp milkweed comes in white and pink. This is Asclepias incarnata, and this is either ice ballet or Cinderella. This is showy milkweed, and now this is what common milkweed will do. Is it'll spread. I mean, literally, it's like you have a rope going down the street. It go 50.
Like bamboo.
Exactly.
That's an example. Like, we have tropical in our garden, and we have hairy balls in the garden, and we've got common on the side. But when we went looking for the common milkweed, and we found a nice patch of it, we might have pulled 3 caterpillars off that common milkweed, and it was like 6 buckets full, and we only had three caterpillars on it and maybe 4 or 5 eggs. But in our garden, it exploded.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were eggs everywhere. There's monarchs flying all around. The swallowtails were all around. It was like, within the last 2 weeks, it was like here they are.
When you're planting milkweed, is there anything you should not plant it next to or around?
It's just a beautiful flower. The
Yeah.
tropical flowers, I mean, we walk through the garden now, the aphids are really starting to destroy the garden. But I mean, with the red, it comes red flowers, yellow or orange.
So
and
it's okay to combine it with a hummingbird
yeah.
garden.
Oh, absolutely.
Hummingbirds
Oh my God,
love them
absolutely.
too. Yeah.
Okay.
So this lady planted common milkweed and didn't realize what it would do, but it's literally like bamboo. Completely takes over your garden, and it's very hard to get rid of. Rhizomes are a horizontal root system that's like a snake going across the top of your surface. And then there's your tropical, which is orange, and then you've got...
Isn't it pretty?
It's gorgeous. It actually looks very much like lantana. But they just absolutely love it. Here's the difference between your hairy balls, you see how it's round, and your swan plant.
Oh my God.
Right,
That's
there's
it.
your hairy balls.
And see the brown ones? They're ready to collect the seeds.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize they actually look like that.
They look like hairy balls. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Forget what I said about getting the shirt laid up because it would look like that anyway.
That's
So it's like,
yeah. I mean, just Google hairy balls milkweed. And
hell no, if I Google hairy balls, my wife's going to get me.
And you never know what's going to come up on the other pages.
I'm waiting for all the comments. Nope, I manscaped. Manscaped, there's that damn milkweed.
But we just want people to plant more milkweed and more plants that they can actually, the pollinators. That they pollinate
yes,
with,
a nice pollinating garden.
Especially this time of year because everything's dying. So, if you had some flowers in your garden, the Joe Pye weed, the Mexican sunflowers.
So what she's saying also, here's another aspect that I feel like the scientific community is missing on this is an opportunity to promote. So remember we go back to Mexico, in March, they head north, they mate, lay eggs.
And
At some point they die.
Right.
The egg hatches, caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly, they head north.
So it's a relay.
Exactly.
So how did those babies know where to go? It's not like that caterpillar that came from the north and went to Mexico is going to come back north. It's a relay.
Like generational.
It is. It's exactly what it is. So it takes 4 generations from Mexico to Canada, and the 4th generation flies 2,000 miles back.
And lives 9 months versus 4 to 6 weeks.
That's right.
All right, so forget the chicken.
Yeah.
What came first, the butterfly or the egg?
That's right.
It makes you wonder. So anyway.
It sounds like one of your biggest goals is education.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Trying to raise awareness.
Actually, do you do field? Are people there to do field trips?
Oh, absolutely. We just had one. We had a homeschool group on Wednesday.
Have you? This is coming from my expertise.
Oh boy.
You know what? Shush you. Think about the hairy balls. My expertise is I work with children. I'm a children's book author and illustrator. Have you ever considered creating a book that talks about all of this?
We've actually attempted, but funny thing is, I don't know an illustrator.
Hi.
Is that funny?
And I'm open for contracts right now.
She is an awesome
Is that crazy? But this is how God's hand works.
Yes.
I mean, literally.
That would be wonderful.
We'll exchange information.
Isn't it interesting how God puts each other in
together.
Each other's path? But anyway, getting back to this, so I don't lose track of my thought. So the scientists don't think that we should be using non-native milkweed. And one of the reasons, what we just talked about, is you just said your swamp is starting to look
like...
Exactly. Okay.
Leather.
Right. Perennial milkweed is going to die off at a certain time every year. Our non-natives will look beautiful into November, except for the aphids this year. They've really done a number on them. Some of the scientists theorize that if we use non-native milkweed, it will entice the female to hang around and continue to lay eggs. And we don't want that. We want them to leave. We want you to go. Get out of here. And the reason we want them to go is because they're flying 2,000 miles to Mexico.
Right.
They need to stop for what? Nectar. The later they leave, the less nectar. Exactly. The less nectar sources there's going to be available to them. So they're going to run out of fuel and they're going to sputter on the side of the road and they're going to die and starve to death and they'll never make it to Mexico. So one of the big issues is not so much that we're worried about this or that. The overwintering number is crucial because that's what determines next year's monarchs, okay? Why doesn't anybody talk about the importance of planting late blooming nectar sources to help fuel the southbound migration? I never hear anybody talk about the importance of that, and it's crucial. We have Mexican sunflower. The other name for it is Tithonia. And I'll go outside and there's 7 or 8 monarchs on it. There's different varieties. It's orange or it's yellow. It can be a shorter version or the tall version. Tall version's fabulous, except the wind knocks it over.
Right.
You got to stake it if you're going to have a tall one. But I believe our mission of conservation and preservation and restoring habitat also has to include adding late blooming sources of nectar to fuel the southbound migration. If we could get people all up and down the East Coast to plant late blooming nectar sources, it's going to help the monarchs get to Mexico. And I never hear anybody talk about it.
Because when did they start migrating?
Now.
They start migrating now. So we're recording this September.
They are on their way. They're on their way.
That's a long...
It's a long...
Light.
Right. So they do about 50 to 100 miles a day. They go up, they flap, 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 and they coast, and then flap, 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 and they coast. So they glide.
Okay.
Yeah. So you figure in 10 days they can go 700 miles. And we've got to get them out of here and we've got to get them south. So that, remember, it's warmer in the south. So their flowers are going to bloom longer than ours, right? The temperatures, right? So our flowers are going to die off. So if we could at least just get them down to South Carolina, North Carolina, the southern states, then hopefully they have enough nectar down there that can get them to Mexico. So we need to ask people to please avoid using herbicides and pesticides. We need to ask people to please plant milkweed. And yes, plant native milkweed, which is to your area. But also, we believe in supplementing our natives with non-native hairy balls and tropical. And if you were to see the numbers on this study that measures the levels of cardinalite in these types of milkweed, and then if you were to see the butterfly activity in our gardens, it speaks for itself.
Do you have this in like a PDF format?
I do.
Can you email it to me so I want to put that in the show notes for the podcast. That way people have it and they can look at it.
Yeah, I'll get it to you. So of course I authored that, but it's all compilation of things that I've read.
It's all studies.
It's all studies, right? And then we have a list of all the flowers that we have in our garden, the annuals and the perennials. So
and people can actually come to you and get plants.
Oh yeah. So getting back to the disaster. It wasn't a disaster, but it was a
disaster. It was a disaster. Of the 3 of us think it was a disaster.
Okay,
it was a disaster.
It was 3,000 plants in our basement, $400 a month electric bill, $1,000 to have the electrician put outlets in, the plumber put in the hose. I mean, all this stuff. And then I started thinking, what if we get mold down here because of all this humidity? I said, you know what? This is dumb. This is dumb. This is working hard, not, what does they say? Work
harder, not smart, or work
smarter, not harder.
Well, I'm not working real smart because this is killing me. So thank God, thank the Lord. Here's the funny thing. I contacted a grower and I left a message. Gentleman's Amish, so they don't have phones that they're, they have certain period that they'll access.
You got to send the homing digits.
Exactly. And the funny thing is I reached out and I left a voice message and I said, this is my name and this is what we do. And we're in Maryland and we're trying to help the monarchs and I need help. Well, he returned my call and the sweetest guy. And he said, this is very interesting. I have just been telling my wife that I want to do something to help the monarchs.
Oh, wow.
And the one grower that I called is interested in helping butterflies. I said, you've got to be kidding me.
Those are very good odds.
And think how good the Amish are in growing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we scheduled a meeting, and I walked up. I went up. I'd never been there before, and I look in the back, and there's this Amish gentleman in the back of this greenhouse. He's walking toward me with a clipboard, and he held up this Mother Earth News magazine, and said, "Is this you?" And I said, "It is, actually." Well, we have developed such a wonderful friendship, and he helps us because a lot of people, times are tight, money's tight. So he helps us he grows the milkweed for us now. So we will bring milkweed down out of Pennsylvania and around Mother's Day. And then we've also, creeping lantana and some other things that we know the monarchs really like. So we help people. We're asking people to please plant butterfly gardens to help the monarchs.
Tell me you are selling the plants at least.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, good.
Well, I just have to cover the cost. I just cover the cost of the plants, and then I think a couple 25 cents for delivery.
I really, really think you should look into becoming a nonprofit.
I'd love to. I don't know how, because literally we're in the hole.
I could put you in contact.
But I say there's a quote, and I actually want to quote Doc Evans. I have never been a scholarly person, but I did graduate nursing school with honors, so it just didn't come easily to me.
Right.
I had to work very hard to earn those grades. And in this class one day, Doc Owens, just such a class act, looked at this class and said, "If I gave you my money, my wealth, whatever wealth I have, you would become richer, but me poorer. But if I share with you my knowledge, whatever knowledge I have, you will become richer and me richer for it." And that is really what guides me in that knowing at the end of my life, if I did something positive, if I helped somebody, if I made a difference, then I know that my life mattered. And that's really what my motivation is. And there's a lot of people. I had a lady come to me. She had lost her daughter, and she was raising her grandchildren, and her husband is now ill. And she handed me a rock from a gift shop, and it had a verse that goes with it. And she gives out these things in memory of her daughter. Mm-hmm. And so she came to get milkweed and called me less than 24 hours later and said, "There is a monarch outside my kitchen window."
Sounds to me like the monarchs are like cardinals.
This is unbelievable.
It's kind of like it is, yeah.
There are so many stories like that it's really hard to even describe. But literally, the woman had said, "I have not seen a monarch in years." Mm-hmm. Wow. And she came to our home in less than 24 hours, had one out. She said, "It's outside my kitchen window." Mm-hmm.
They're so, to me, I believe they are the prettiest butterfly out there.
I have one tattooed.
Yeah, you have one tattooed. Actually, why do you have a monarch tattooed on here?
Story for another day.
Oh God, is it a chili pepper story?
No. Me and I, at the time, I have had this tattoo for about probably like 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. And me and my best friend, and then our non-best friend anymore, decided we wanted to all go get a tattoo with each other. And we all had varying colors that represented us. And I was like, why don't we go get butterflies? Because we're all free thinkers here. And we thought it'd be a good representation for us. And my current, my still best friend, she has the purple one, but we had the same design. So they're all the monarch designs.
Gotcha.
But they're in different colors. But I got the monarch coloring because
Your color's orange?
No.
Really?
I just, I'm autistic, so I prefer things to be in their
fall in line
boxes, and I wanted the one that was the box. So
that's pretty neat.
Fun. And I paint a lot of butterflies for people, so I like butterflies.
A hell of an artist. an awesome writer.
And I'm a great person to hang out with.
Yeah, all kinds.
That's
As long as
awesome.
you're not painting fried eggs on somebody's head.
One time, and it was for the children.
She did that to me. I'll have to tell you afterwards. All right, so very important. How do people get in touch with you?
So, they can go to our Facebook group, Donna's Monarch Butterfly Sanctuary. And I will just preface this by saying we've been cloned twice. Facebook does absolutely nothing to help us. They stole our cover photo. They stole the name of our group. So there's 3 of me. There's 3 of us. It's not me. It's us. This is our group. It's not my group. But look for the one that has over 13,000 members, and that you'll know that you're in the right group. And also, we just created an email, donnasmonarchs@aol.com.
What? At what?
Eddie, I know I'm dating me. I'm old. That's okay. It works for me. Gmail, I just could not maneuver Gmail.
Don't tell me you still have the AOL CD.
No, I don't have.
Because if you do, I need to steal it from you.
Yeah, where's the thing where it says you've got mail? It doesn't do that anymore. Yeah, no, but I had Gmail and it just
confusing.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't you get used to something?
It works for me, so why not?
Yeah. I didn't realize AOL.com mail was still around.
Do you have a website?
We have a domain. We purchased the domain.
We'll talk.
But I don't know how to do a website.
We'll talk.
I'm too busy.
My husband's a marketing and graphic designer, and he builds websites for people.
That's phenomenal.
All right, so we got homework.
Yeah, we've got the domain, but and somebody was going to help me and never helped me.
So I got to put you in touch with somebody so you can become a 501c3, which I believe is very important because you're putting out money at the wazoo because you keep getting plants as carpet in your basement and, getting all this new electricity and everything. Next thing you know, you're going to have a solar field out there because you're just overrunning everything. An illustrator, which you already got because you already did the book. Are you working on the book?
Yeah, we pretty much have the book, what we want to do.
The website. Next thing will probably be a podcast or video series and the shirts, because you definitely got to get the shirts made up that says how are your hairy balls and have the milkweed there. Man,
please make sure you include a butterfly on that shirt.
Yeah. Wow.
I thought, people have suggested that before, but I don't ever want to come across as I'm not doing it for profit.
That's why you have to become a nonprofit.
And once you become the nonprofit, those things will help fund.
Exactly. Fund what you're doing. What you're doing is awesome.
And nonprofit doesn't mean that you're not allowed to take any profit to put into the nonprofit. Right. That's not what that means.
I don't know how any of that works.
Yeah, a nonprofit is essentially a business that's there to help others.
That's why you see or
with a cause.
A lot of your nonprofits will have a paid staff, but it's still a nonprofit, not-for-profit, or whatever. But no, I'll get you.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing. Yeah, but so anyway, we're 10 years into this, and we've got 13,000 people in the group, and we've made some wonderful friends. And
you're retired from nursing.
I just did April 2nd of this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I pulled the plug.
Oh, that's
it's funny. Pull the plug, because I said, I asked him about how this. I said, I've never done a podcast before. I said, are we just winging it? And he said, I like the pun, and I didn't even think.
You didn't even think. I thought you were making a joke. No. She sent me on Facebook Messenger. Are we winging it? I thought she was being funny.
Yeah.
Butterflies, wings.
Yeah. And for future reference, people normally.
I like the pun. And
she didn't say it as a pun, though.
No, I didn't. And then I realized, haha.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm used to it. Sometimes it'll take my kids or my wife weeks before they understand the joke.
Dry sense of humor.
Yeah. What?
I saw what you did.
So this is what the eggs do to these poor little caterpillars.
Ew.
And it's just the eggs. So the tachinid flies lay the eggs. It's a shame we don't have
Video?
so somebody could
Oh.
see that.
Well, you can send me the photo. Send me
Yeah.
the photos because I can always add them to the show.
Right. And see the strings, see the
Yeah.
caterpillar hanging.
Yeah.
So the maggots are inside the caterpillar, and you see how it's just deflated?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're
There's
being
feeding off of it.
Yeah, they're feeding on. They eat it. That's what parasitic insects do. They just feed off of the host, right? So the caterpillars, So we don't take anything that we do lightly.
No.
All right.
I mean, I do see that you come super prepared with a binder that's at least 100 pages.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I take great pride in this. I put it together, and like I said, I made it through. I've got a degree. I've got a bachelor's degree, but I'm not one that could just sit there and listen to a 3-hour lecture and remember everything they said. I have to take really good notes. But I do things. I try to do things very organized and chronologically, so you build on it and it makes sense, as opposed to just jumping all over the place and then none of what we said makes any sense.
Yeah.
You should do children's educational programs. I can help with that, but you should do them. They're fun to do. And then, educating the tiny ones helps the bigger ones, especially get involved at home, maybe even sending a milkweed plant home with a child, because then the parents feel guilty and have to plant them. Who has a pine tree in their yard for 30 years? I do.
My grandmother did.
We just had a homeschool group came on Wednesday, and I have to be honest with you, it was the best group of children, the most well-behaved. And again, when you talk about how God puts his hand, before I tell you that, I got a call from a lady at assisted living back in February, and she learned about what we do, and she was planning for the summer, and she asked, do we do anything like, going places and doing presentation? And I did, and she said, well, let's pick a day. What do you think of July 3rd? And I said, sure. So I put July 3rd on the calendar back in February. Well, on July 2nd, 2 butterflies eclosed. The terminology is an egg hatches, a caterpillar pupates, and a butterfly ecloses. Ecloses when it comes out of the chrysalis.
Okay.
So I don't understand the word, why they just can't say it emerged. Emerged makes more sense. Monarchs typically don't get here till around July 15th. But yet they start to trickle in a little early. Why? Because they're headed north, and sometimes the wind pushes them north before they're typically here. But they get here around July 15th, and they're heavy until about now.
Mm-hmm.
And they're starting to slow down now. But we've got about a 6-week period in Maryland where we're going to have heavy monarch activity. So anyway, we went down, we did a presentation, and at the end, I said, now, anybody like to go outside and release some butterflies? They had no idea that I had 2 butterflies. But I had said to my husband, what are the chances of back in February, we picked July 3rd, just random date.
Right.
And on July 2nd, I'm going to have 2 butterflies come out that typically don't even get here till July 15th. It's just, there's no such thing as coincidence. It's all planned. It's just amazing. So anyway, this homeschool group.
No. Tell them who got to release that butterfly.
Oh, so before we went outside, and I was leaning against this column, and I said, no, does anybody here would like to release these in memory of someone, in honor of someone? Right. Is there a special occasion? They said, well, Audrey just turned 105 on Monday.
105?
105. She was alert and oriented, walking with her walker, completely with it, sharp as a tack at 105. 105
Age
years.
is nothing but a number.
Nope. So Audrey.
For some.
So Audrey. Yeah, so the lady Audrey released 2 butterflies.
I actually had a lady on 101 years old. We did it virtually.
Mm-hmm.
And she was still using a trainer.
It's good.
And getting ready to write another book.
Wow. 101 years.
Can you imagine what she has witnessed over 101 years?
Oh, yeah, and she remembered that because me and my other co-host, Wendy, were asking her these questions. It's amazing. Because I always said my goal is to hit at least 100, and I'll still be doing this.
Wow.
Shut up, Kayla.
So anyway, recently, you were asking when we plant the milkweed. Yes, we put some in the ground, and then we also have some in pots. And we haven't really even talked about what we do with these butterflies as far as we help them along. So when we go out into the garden, because they have a 3 to 10% survival rate, we'll go out, and if we find some eggs, we bring the eggs in. We keep them in a container. So now our survival rate goes from 3 to 10 to 90%.
But you keep the eggs on the leaf.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like you saw, right? So we keep the eggs on the leaf, and then when the caterpillar hatches, we transfer it onto a potted plant and put it in a habitat.
Then you can forget about it for a couple of weeks because you saw how tiny those caterpillars are.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, a couple of weeks later, you look and they're like, oh, there are big caterpillars.
Have you ever seen?
Yes.
Until I saw that little black line moving, I had no idea that was a caterpillar.
They have wiggles, tiny wiggles.
They're about 2 millimeters when they hatch, and they'll go from 2 millimeters to what? What do you think that length is in millimeters or centimeters?
It's probably 2 inches.
What do you think?
Yeah, 2 inches.
It's probably
Yeah.
2 inches.
I know that
But this time of year,
they're
like
huge.
if you look at the chrysalis in the springtime, it's a lot smaller. Now that the migrators are in the chrysalis, they're doubled in size. They're big. So you know when that butterfly comes out, it's ready. It's ready to move.
Yeah, so they're referred to as the super generation. So the first 4 generations, remember, they leave Mexico, head north, mate, lay eggs, die, caterpillar, and that whole thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 4th generation flies 2,000 miles back to Mexico and spends the winter high atop the trees in Mexico.
And then they start all over again.
And they live 6 to 8 months, 9 months, Yeah. So that generation, the migrators, are called the super generation because they live for an extended period.
So that's what we have right now out in the garden. We have the super generation ready to go. And they know it's not like they're going to hang around and mate. They don't. They turn that off and they just head south. They know that that's their job to get to Mexico.
How often do groups, or do you guys even go to groups to let them release the butterflies? Because to me, sorry, Kayla, but I was able to do it before you got here. But to me, I mean, that is good therapy. And we all know, the way mental illness is, this is something that a lot of people could use.
When I say this, I'm not saying this to be facetious or anything. The group that we have built, and the friendships and the camaraderie, the community, we have taken people from depression. It gives them a purpose. Empty, people that are empty nesters that feel like they have no purpose in their lives anymore. Some are whatever. It's just
But these are people that are actually working with the butterflies.
Right.
Yeah.
People that have started in our group. It's very therapeutic, just like you said. The issue is to the point that I was just getting ready to make. If I say, hey, ma'am, when are you going to go into labor? Nobody knows when they're going to go into labor. So,
and you don't know when a butterfly is going to.
Exactly. So I can't call and say, hey, I'll be there on the 15th if you want to release butterflies, because I have no idea if we'll have butterflies.
Right.
Because we don't know if they'll be here to lay eggs. And if we find the eggs, will they hatch? And will they be diseased? Well, you see, there's just too many variables. But the interesting thing, when I talk about God putting his hand on our mission. So when we talk about the migrators, we're not promoting people to go out and collect eggs and do this. And it discourage mass rearing and on and on and on. However, with the 3 to 10% survival rate and the numbers so critically low that they almost put them on the endangered species list, and the fact that the migrators are what going to determine next year's numbers, this is critical.
Yeah.
So if we have eggs out there, you darn right we're going to bring them in, and you darn right we're going to protect those, because we're trying to get as many migrators to Mexico as we can.
Save the mom.
Exactly. So we had put a post out, and it went all over Harford County in these different groups. Does anybody have milkweed? Because we're running out. Because we bring the caterpillars in and they strip the plants. So a real sweet girl replied to me, yes, I have milkweed. We went to her house very close to our home. She didn't realize what we do. She is so excited. She brought a homeschool group on Wednesday. I don't know if it was 10 or 15 children, but we picked a day. Okay, come on Wednesday. Wednesday morning, I had 25 butterflies.
Oh, wow.
I had an egg that just hatched. I had a jay hanging caterpillar in this one habitat. I had chrysalides that were not out yet. And those children got to see an egg that hatched, big caterpillars, the small caterpillars, the jay hanging, shed its skin and pupate, and a butterfly come out of its chrysalis, and then we released 25 butterflies.
That is awesome.
That made their day, made the mom's day too.
Yeah.
Right, but the point of that is, I can't plan that.
No.
I can't
It's in
say
their hands and God's.
that's right.
Yeah.
I can't say come next Wednesday and we'll release butterflies.
Have you ever thought about putting a time-lapse camera in to do time-lapse videos and then using that to help advertise for
The sanctuary.
Yeah. I have not thought of that, but
No, I think you can find a lot of that over
yeah.
But there's also ways to do it where it's real time.
Set up,
So-
you can set up like a.
Then you can have people that tune in that are waiting to see these
It's true.
butterflies emerge.
Yeah, how you have a lot of these eagles' nests. and
Right.
everything.
The
You have
eagle's
the
nest is what came
webcams,
to. Yep.
And people
Donna
watch them.
Sanctuary.
That is actually
Monarch
kind of a neat
webcam.
idea. Yeah, but I mean, I was in healthcare for 30 years and I'm not computer savvy and I
And
don't know
It's
how to
easy.
build.
That's
set up.
why you build your community so that other people
Yeah.
can then step in.
Yeah.
It's not, and
Volunteer. You look at scouts, leaders, stuff like that. They're always looking for volunteer programs, and that's something they could volunteer to do. Kayla always volunteered.
Kayla does not always volunteer.
Well, that's a good idea.
Kayla is not
Think
a
of the young
volunteer.
people and what they're learning.
Well, somebody even encouraged me to
Good idea.
get a YouTube channel
you.
or TikTok.
Yeah, don't worry
Hi.
about it.
Yeah, I'm one of those that are going to encourage you to do that because I'm 29. That's how I bring in basically what I do. I speak about mental health. I work with children and I do all of those kinds of advocacy types of things. And TikTok would be a great way to promote it, even if you're doing something silly. So there's a lady, I don't know what her handle is. I love her. She's an older woman who uses her roller skates and uses a butterfly type of,
Costume.
not a costume, but it's like a
Those wings.
like those little wing flaggy things.
Yeah.
She just dances and roller skates, and she's got millions of followers, and that's
So
all
funny.
she does. And sometimes
In
she's
different
like, light up.
areas. I mean, that's what she does.
That's what she does,
Oh, my
and
sister-
love it.
sister and cousin just started something. My sister's 66, and my cousins are right around the same age. They just started a TikTok, the TikToking grandmas.
Love that.
Have
Love
you
that
seen it?
so much.
Oh God, they do stupid things. My son's actually makes money from TikTok
Mhm.
talking about
Yep.
stupid things. But this is not stupid.
And people would be interested
They
in
would
it.
be interested. It definitely you're already doing Facebook videos, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
I definitely think that there's room starting a YouTube channel, educating and making sure that it's geared towards education for all age groups, not just directly towards the adults.
Well, the thing is, they're already out there. So,
But it's not Donna's.
oh, you're sweet.
It's not.
Yeah, and
And-
you know the funny thing
Craig's
is,
sitting there like, oh
Well,
God,
somebody-
why are you buttering her up?
No, Craig's thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to snowball in another direction.
somebody came to the house the other day and paid me a compliment, and I don't handle compliments real well. I get embarrassed. And I said, have you seen this group? We're growing at 500 a week. She said, it's because of you. And I said, what do you mean? She said, Donna, do you not realize it's because of you? And she went on So I have the philosophy I will never correct publicly. I praise publicly, and I'll send a private message for correction because I don't ever want to embarrass or humiliate somebody in front of other people.
Right.
And I try to use the words, for therapeutic communication. If I may make a suggestion, hey, I found this to be this really worked for me. You may find this to be useful as you. Instead of, you need to do this, you shouldn't do that. Why would you do that?
There's ways to communicate to people to get your point across without being nasty.
Yes, exactly. And we have group rules, and one of our group rules is, because of that group I was telling you about, with the followers who think that what we're doing we shouldn't be doing, that this person publicly goes into his group and asks people to join our group to, quote, try to talk some sense into me. They call me stupid. They call me all these other names. Yeah, she says she's a nurse, but she doesn't follow the science. I'm doing my own science. Your science says this, but we're in our garden and what we're seeing does not match.
Right.
What you're claiming does not match what we're seeing. We have no OE here. No, it might be somewhere, but it ain't in our gardens. And I don't use that word ain't, but it's, we are doing it. We're checking with a microscope. We're checking these butterflies. We're not releasing butterflies that are unhealthy. So these are biologists I'm sitting here with. We're not doing this haphazardly, and yet to attack me. So I had to put rules in our group. We will not debate the use of non-native milkweed in our group. Period. This is our position. This is our stance. We support it. We are proponents of it. And if you are opposed to that, then you're
in the wrong group.
Then you're in the wrong group. But I say it respectfully.
Yeah.
This is our position. And if you're going to continue to try to argue, you will be banned from the group.
Good.
So, and then please watch your tone. Please be helpful. Please be respectful. Never speak to somebody condescending. And I hear all the time people thank you for giving me a group that I can feel safe in and not be attacked. So the fact that we have established the group that no disrespect, no debating, this is our position, and we enforce it. So if somebody's going to be rude, they get booted right out of the group.
And you need to.
Yep.
And I really think that's why it's growing.
Yeah.
And that's the feedback that I'm getting from people.
Talking with you today has been absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
And I'm really glad that we were able to talk about Donna's Monarch Butterfly Sanctuary on Rich's podcast.
It's not my podcast. It's Donna's and Donna's.
She did a very good job.
And Mark's
Yes.
Has nothing to do with you.
You know what, Rich? On that note, friends.
I want to thank you. I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah.
How long did we go?
Hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
Think about even going.
Uh-huh.
Well, nobody wants to flounder, and everybody wants to succeed and hope that when they get invited to do something that they do it well.
You did well.
You did well, yeah.
Awesome. And I learned a lot. And I also know now that with that basement, since you don't have all those plants in there, and Craig's retared, now he's going to turn it into a studio so you can
do
start
social
doing
media
TikTok videos. Craig's looking at me, he's like, Rich, just shut the hell up.
I can help.
Yeah. No, I want to thank you all, everybody listening. Look for the Facebook group. And keep your eyes open because hopefully this is going to become a nonprofit. We're definitely going to put you in contact.
Push her in the right
people.
direction.
Yeah, because I think you definitely need to.
Yeah, I mean, we're in like I said, we're in the hole. So
yeah.
And guys, if you see a butterfly in your garden, think of Donna's Monarch Butterfly Sanctuary.
Oh,
don't think of your tattoo?
No, and don't think of you either.
At least I was able to get the butterflies crawling on me.
Thank you for listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going. You know, it takes a lot to put a podcast together, and my sponsors help out a lot, but I also have some supporters that actually help me when it comes to the editing software, the hosting, and so forth. There's a lot that goes into putting this together. So I want to thank them. And if you can, please visit their websites, visit their businesses, support them however you can. So please visit the following. Full Circle Boards. Nobody does charcuterie like Full Circle Boards. Visit them at fullcircleboards.com. Sincerely Sawyer Photography. Live in the moment. They'll capture it. Visit them at sincerelysawyer.com.
The Harford County Health Department can help eligible pregnant women and children with low to average incomes get free health insurance through the Maryland Children's Health Program. Call 410-877-1040. That's 410-877-1040.